So don't get
That's
too
what I'm going to say. We
excited.
haven't even gotten to the rest of it, but you started something from nothing and built it to a $460 million, a $500 million
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
Brent,
Yeah.
I am so excited for the rest of this show.
I was just honest with him. I said, I don't have the money, but can you build me this street? So he agreed to do it. So when they booked it, we would get the money now. But these places, they didn't exist at
Didn't
all.
exist yet. Wow.
What's crazy to me is I get the feeling from you that the money doesn't mean anything, and the amount of lives that you saved and made better and impacted in the world means 10 times more than any dollar amount ever could.
I said, the reason we can have joy is because we have hope. If you don't have hope, all you left is with what you see right now. But when you have hope, you're excited for the future.
Welcome back to Single Tree Nation, guys. I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, and as always, we have our illustrious co-host, Mr. Derry Wells, with us today.
What is up, everybody?
Thank you guys for joining us. We want to give a quick shout out to our primary technology sponsor, Toast. They partner with us here on the show and at the restaurant to help us provide undeniable hospitality with the best technology out today. So thank you, Toast, for all that you do for us. If you have any questions or want to get involved and need help with getting a POS system for your business, please reach out to us and I'll be happy to help you and connect you with the right folks. Derry, I am so excited about today's show.
Yes, absolutely.
Man, I spend a lot of time making videos, getting on YouTube, making shorts, doing clips. I don't spend a lot of time on social media from a standpoint of doom scrolling and getting the chance to scroll through all the funny things.
Right.
Our guest today happened to show up in my feed. I am so excited for him to be able to tell his story.
The universe was watching.
Man, the little bit I know, and I told him pre-show that the little bit I know, I didn't even do any more research because I just want to be able to dive in and get to hear it straight from his mouth. So Brent, without any further ado, welcome to the show. We have the owner of Milk and Honey, Brent. We are super happy to have you, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's a huge honor that my story is at all interesting to anybody. So it means a lot.
It is absolutely incredible, man. For those of you who have never heard of Milk and Honey, where is Milk and Honey?
So Milk and Honey Ranch is in between Houston and Austin in Texas.
Okay.
So we're like right in the middle. We're in a little place called Burton, which nobody would have ever heard of, but near us is the Bluebell Ice Cream Factory, which is a big deal in Texas. They love their Bluebell.
I think Bluebell's a big deal everywhere.
Yeah.
It's why I had to lose 30 pounds last year. Ice cream is my nemesis, Brent.
Yes.
I can put down some ice cream quickly, but I digress. So we, like I said, I found you on social media, got a little bit about your story. I really want to dive in. How long have you had the ranch?
I bought it. I bought the land in April of 21. So
coming up on 5 years.
Yeah.
So what I like to do is find out about the people prior to what they're currently doing and really kind of give a little bit more of a story than just what the business that they're currently doing is, right? It means a little bit more when you know the background of the people that are running it. So prior to 21, what were you doing?
So I've always been, ever since I've been working, I've been a software engineer. And so that's why me having this ranch and what it's become is hilarious to everybody that knew me, because it is so far from everything I studied, my personality, everything else. I was a coder, sitting behind a screen for hours and hours at a time. And so my brother and I actually started a tech med business after his daughter had a stroke at a few days old. And so him and I built that together, and we did that for 10 years until it was acquired by a public company. And sometimes the best ideas come out of the worst personal situations.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the accent, you don't sound like you're from right outside of Houston.
No, I'm deep South Texas, so south I'm on another continent, South Africa.
That is pretty far south. That is pretty far south. So, born and raised in South Africa?
Yes, born and raised in South Africa. I actually came across to America because my brother got recruited to play rugby in Aspen, Colorado, of which we knew nothing about except for the movie Dumb and Dumber, which
Oh,
turns out,
that is a fantastic
That is
yeah,
reference.
outstanding.
that's all we knew. And then it turns out that wasn't even Aspen, in the
No.
movie.
That is outstanding.
That just goes to show you whatever's coming out of America, the rest of the world don't know what we're actually doing, and so I
Like,
Yeah,
love
we,
that.
we
Was
believe it. We believe it.
absolutely.
So,
My brother lived overseas for a number of years. He said people there don't have the right concept because it's just what gets portrayed or on the news or
yes.
whatever. And so if it shows up in pop culture or stuff, that's just what people hang on to. So
Yeah.
what a movie to learn about Colorado.
It's just like my friends, now that I live in Texas, they're like, does everybody ride around on horses? I'm like, yes, everybody rides a horse.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Yes. The answer is always yes.
That is rich.
So what year did you come to Aspen to search for Dumb and Dumber?
So 2002.
Okay.
So I was 22 years old at the time. I came to America with $2,400 and two suitcases, and that was everything I owned and everything I had. And I spent the first 6 months living in a basement, eating hot pockets, doing whatever jobs I could do. There was nothing below me. And that was my introduction to the land of opportunity.
Mm.
And where I found a little bit of a breakthrough was I started working for this wireless internet company, which wireless, in 2002 it was a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
And it was a point to point, and you had to climb on the roof to install this antenna to reach the tower. And nobody wanted to do it because of the snowy roofs and everything like that. And I was like, I'll do it, never having even been on a roof. And
Oh,
so, with no safety equipment or anything like that, I would get up on those roofs and install those antennas. And I got all the business because everybody else deemed it unsafe. And I deemed it fantastic because I wouldn't have to eat Hot Pockets.
Yes. Yes. What's that they say? The man that drives a old rusted beat down car, there's somebody that envies him because he's riding a bicycle to work every day.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
for
somebody
sure.
that envies the guy with a bicycle because he's walking to work every day.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You were envying the guy eating ramen because you had Hot
Yeah.
Pockets. That's outstanding. I love that. So you're putting wireless antennas on the tops of snowy roofs in Aspen.
Yeah. And
Your brother's playing rugby. Have y'all started the company yet?
no. He ended up starting like a back treatment clinic in Aspen. A lot of people, turns out, have back pain, so he was helping a lot of people with that. And I ended up starting my own computer company. And so that's what we did the whole time. We were there for about 9 years, and then I actually left Aspen and moved back to South Africa to be a missionary. Um, and so I've got an amazing wife who, I don't know how many wives would give up Aspen for, to go
I
back
bet
to
it's a
South
short list.
Africa, but she did. And
Is
so
she
we
from South
left.
Africa as well,
She
or
she is from South Africa.
okay?
Uh, um, and I just really wanted to do something that was going to make a difference in the world. And so we moved back, and that's when my niece had the stroke. And so my brother reached out to me in South Africa and said, "Hey, bro, like nobody knows what to do. We can't find the right people. He's like, there's got to be an easier way. He said, come help me build this company, and I promise you, we will help more people in this world than what you could possibly do there. And he was right.
Mm.
I mean, we built this company. Of course, nothing's easy. You know, every week we didn't know if we would be able to make it financially, and but we ended up helping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people with complex medical cases that I don't know what would have happened otherwise with their lives. It was a very rewarding business. People who had been sick for 10 years couldn't get out of bed. You know, we'd get them in front of like top medical specialists, and they're like, you're on the wrong medication, you've been diagnosed for the wrong disease, and that's actually what's affecting your health.
Oh, that's amazing.
You know, so lots of things like that saved a lot of lives who were on wrong chemo, wrong treatments, you know, all sorts of stuff. So
Man,
it was great. It was great.
bless you. That is outstanding. Absolutely
So,
outstanding. So you did that for 10 years.
yeah.
And after that 10 years, when did you sell the company?
So it was around 21. I think we had started discussions in like 2020, and so we had always lived in an apartment, and we never had a lot of money, but we were very happy. And so anyway, then our company got bought, and you know I had a small piece of it, but this company bought our company for $460 million, which it's just like an amount that you read about on a newspaper article
Right.
or watch it. You never ever think that it could possibly happen to you.
$460 million.
Yeah.
That's like that's movie show like stuff. You don't
I
ever
had to pause for a second to say that out loud.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, and we sure,
I gotta tell you, man, that's absolutely incredible.
yeah, it was amazing, but I have
We
to
haven't
tell you the
even
rest of the
gotten-
story, so don't get
That's
too
what I'm gonna say. We
excited.
haven't even gotten to the rest of it, but you started something from nothing
Yeah,
and built it to a $460 million, a $500 million
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
Brent,
yeah,
I am so excited for the rest of this show. You have just like, I have a warm, fuzzy feeling on the inside. The best part about all of this is I can already tell how much of an amazing person you are. From moving here when you're 22 years old with $2,400 in your pocket, eating Hot Pockets and climbing on snowy roofs, risking your life every single day just to be able to eat. We had this conversation not too long ago about entrepreneurs and who they are and what they really do. And the ability, what's crazy to me is I get the feeling from you that the money doesn't mean anything. And the amount of lives that you saved and made better and impacted in the world means 10 times more than any dollar amount ever could. And it just warms my soul to even.
It's karma. Made
It
fun
is.
of me.
I'm
No.
getting excited over here. I'm just so. Look,
just-
you got me all worked up, Brent.
yeah. Don't get too excited because otherwise I'm about to disappoint you very hard. You know.
That is outstanding. I can't wait because that's just an epic turn in the show. So
Yeah.
before we do that, we are going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and learn a little bit more. Most brands want something clean, polished, quite frankly, forgettable. Dead Meat Society is for the ones that just don't quite fit the mold. For the late nights, that meaty perfection, the hunger inside. Join the society, stay soft. DeadMeatSociety.com. Go check it out. Welcome back to Single Tree Nation, guys. I am here with Brent from Milk and Honey. We are talking about his incredible journey.
Milk and Honey Ranch.
Milk and Honey
I just want to
Ranch.
distinguish that.
I will
because
make
Milk
it
and
is-
Honey Ranch.
Yeah.
I am not saying the full name.
That-
That is my fault.
No, that's fine.
I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked. So we are 2020 2021, coming out of a pandemic,
Yes. That,
and
yeah.
and now, were you was your company acquired? Was that process started during COVID
Yes.
in 2020?
Yeah. So that all happened during COVID and it sold during COVID.
That's
Um,
crazy.
and, COVID was a very important thing for me, as I'm sure I know it affected everybody in different ways. And it changed my life, I think, for the better. And I'll tell you why. Is I was always at the office. I would work 16, 18-hour days, and not to exaggerate. I mean, I would sleep very little. Building a company of our size with, only having limited resources and everything like that, a lot of sacrifices, and I just got used to being at the office. I mean, I love my wife and my kids, but I would see them, very, very little. And when COVID happened, it brought me home like everybody else.
Yeah.
And when I was at home, I was like, I really love being around my family. Like,
It's unique what that'll do to you, isn't
yes.
it?
Yeah, I was like, I married my wife on purpose because I
Yep.
really like being
Right.
around her.
Yeah.
Right.
And, my kiddos, I was like, I've only got a few years left with them before they become, before they go to college and stuff like that. I need to change my life. I've got to transition to something else. And so that happened, and then the freeze happened in Texas, which shut down the whole of Texas. And we were without power, water, heat. You couldn't go to the shops, all the shops were closed, everything like that. And it was an eye-opening moment for me about how useless I really was,
Mm.
because I've always been in technology, and because I've been in technology, I love all things technology, Uber Eats, and all of these things, and all of that was taken away like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how to fix a water pipe. I don't know how to, do any of those things because I never had to do those things. And I was like, that's when I decided that we were gonna get a ranch. We'd get some land and we would learn farming, and like we're gonna learn this stuff together. And I'm gonna
So,
teach my kids something. Yeah.
are you still own the company, or was this you knew this was the company was being sold, and
Yes.
so this was the plan? Now,
Yes. I knew that
when you
the
say that
company
you were
was
going to
being
buy a
sold.
ranch or land, was it just for like a family farm? Was
Yes,
your idea?
exactly. Just a
Okay.
family farm. I
Okay.
never ever had the intention of it becoming what it is today, and I'll obviously explain that. But all I wanted was a family farm that we could raise some animals, we could learn how to process them, we could just become sufficient, and not because I'm a prepper, but if we could learn how to be self-sufficient, then I've achieved like this amazing life cycle, and we've learned how to be able to take care of ourselves. So that was the goal. And
This is
so
21, right?
this is in 21. So I looked at a bunch of ranches and everything like that, and so I knew I was getting enough money so they were paying us out in some in cash, and the rest were in shares.
Mm. Okay.
But the shares were doing well, and so I took the cash that I got, and I bought the land for cash, so I didn't have to get a loan or anything like that. And then I started borrowing against my shares in order to do everything else, because I mean, what could possibly go wrong when you've got that much money? I mean, I never had to work again, which was the weirdest feeling, because I've had to work so hard my whole life, and I'm
Mm.
grateful for it. I'm not complaining at all,
Mm.
but I've had to work very hard for everything. And anyway, so we started, building some houses, and I was building my mom a house, and I was building my brother and sister-in-law a house, and I was building a guest house that we would move into first, and then we had a plan to build like a nice big house for ourselves, because we finally had some money.
Yeah.
And anyway, then and this was a very important part of the story. The war broke out in the Ukraine, and I had just finished building a six-car garage, and it had a huge attic, And when the war broke out in the Ukraine, I've got a lot of relationships in the Ukraine because of software engineering. Some of the best developers come from there. And so I converted my attic in this garage into a hotel, 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom. We called it the hotel.
Mm.
And I said to anybody in the Ukraine among my group, you, your family, your friends, if you can get to the US, I'll take care of you. And you can rebuild your life here. Anyway, I went to sleep, a multi-millionaire, and I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning with a sick feeling. And for some reason, I went and I looked at the shares, and the shares had plummeted from, I think it was 46 or 56 dollars to $3 a share. And
Oh,
and because it had dropped, and my hedges against, I lost everything. And I stumbled. uh, I couldn't tell if I was having a nightmare. I don't know if you've ever had one of those dreams when you're not sure when you wake up if it really happened, but then, like,
Mm-hmm.
thankfully you realize it was a dream, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so glad. Well, I had that feeling, but I wasn't waking up.
We're
You
waking
know,
up.
I was like, I stumbled out of the house, and I ended up collapsing like in the bush somewhere on this farm. And it was the worst feeling, because it was like to have finally got to a point that I was financially secure for the rest of my life, and then to have lost it. It was better that I never had it, because it was like I had tasted of something, and it was so fleeting, and I felt so guilty, even though it wasn't my fault. I felt like I had squandered this incredible gift that God had given, and I was lying on the ground. I mean, I thought like my heart was gonna give out, and I remember the prayer I prayed, because I didn't feel worthy to ask anything of God, and I just said, uh, "God, will you please have mercy on me?" That was the only prayer that I could utter, because yeah, I've got a wife, 2 kids. I've moved them from the city. The other thing is they had offered me a corporate job that I would have been set for life, and I turned that down to rather come and do this. So now all of these things are going through my mind. Like I have royally screwed up my life, my kids, my wife. Like, I didn't even have enough money to pay the $500 electric bill that was going to come. I lost my 401k. I lost my saving. Everything was gone. And I tell you, looking back now, and I'll explain it, it's one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
I know it sounds crazy, but the person that I have become from that devastating moment, I wouldn't trade for anything. And it was so vital, the lessons that I learned during this moment, for what I'm about to tell you. But that's why I tell you, like, 460 million, and it's like, yes, unbelievable. Like, this is incredible. And then the rest of the story comes, and it's gone. And that's not everybody's story. There's people who made a lot of money, and they got to keep it.
right, right.
I never
Hey,
got to.
what? It wasn't God's plan for you, Brent.
I
Wasn't
never
God's
got to.
plan for you.
I never got to keep it. So anyway, I lay there, and then I decided, okay, I've got a wife and 2 kids. I'm going to do whatever it takes. Like, I will do whatever it takes. And I must tell you, I don't know if I would have done something stupid that night if I was a single adult. But if ever there was a time that I felt like taking my life, it would have been then.
Mm.
Because it was so overwhelming and so hopeless, and so like everything I'd worked for my whole life was gone. At least that's what you
Yeah.
think, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there's so much more life, but having a wife and a kid, that wasn't even a option, because I had to take care of my family. I strongly believe out of all my biblical principles, taking care of your family is it's such a big deal. And when I was, a young boy, my dad in South Africa threw us out on the street. So I saw the result of a father who didn't take care of his family, and we were homeless for periods of time, having to sleep in people's homes and trying to figure out where to go. And I think, somewhere in my heart, I promised I will never be that kind of father. I will always take care of my family. And anyway, so I started to work several jobs, IT. So I went back into IT from the farm, and thank God for Starlink, because otherwise I couldn't have done that. But I was working on multiple time zones, working through the night, which was something I wasn't uncommon for me. Trying to pay the bills, and the ranch is very expensive with all the animals and all that stuff, and I still wasn't making it out. And then um, I had the idea to put that place that I had built to help others rebuild their lives. God was now going to use to save our farm. So I put it on Airbnb. This was September of 22. I put an attic above a garage on
On
Airbnb,
Airbnb.
and I called it the hotel.
That is outstanding.
And
That is
I mean,
outstanding.
uh, it was all we had. Now, what's so funny, this place doesn't even have windows, right? So if you think about an Airbnb and you're like, it doesn't have windows, but it was all I had. There was nothing else I had to offer. And I think to anybody who's listening, who's an entrepreneur and stuff like that, sometimes when you've only got one pathway forward, it's actually a huge blessing, because you don't second guess anything, because you can only go one way. And so some of these IT jobs and stuff started to dry up. And I applied. Now I have a master's in software engineering. I've taken a company from conception all the way to sale. Like these are really sought after things. I'm a chief technology officer. I've got all of these things. I applied to over 40 jobs on LinkedIn, and I didn't even get a chance to interview. And that was when I realized that God had now closed those doors to me, and I needed to pursue this ridiculous path of Airbnb, which there's nothing in my background. There's
You're not a super host with Airbnb.
like, so I put it online, and it booked almost immediately, and I was like, whoa. And then it booked again, and it booked again, and then I looked, and it was only women booking this Airbnb, and I was like, I don't even know why they're booking it. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I have no idea, but I'm so grateful that these people are booking. So when the women arrived, it was so funny. If you've ever seen an overzealous host, it was me. We had sourdough bread waiting for them. We had cupcakes. I was offering to cook meals, and then I'd come home and like, babes, I need you to cook dinner for the guests. And like my wife's cooking in our kitchen, and I'm taking food up to them. I mean, I was doing anything short of kissing their hands, just because I was so grateful that they were booking. But I said to them, I said, please don't take this wrong way, but like, why are you here? Like, why did you book this Airbnb? And they're like, oh, there wasn't anywhere else to go. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, Round Top. Round Top's fully booked. I'm like, what's a Round Top? Anyway, 15 minutes down the road from us is I think it's the world's largest antique festival that happens 3 times a year. And I happened to list my Airbnb right before the start of it.
Wow.
And so there was no accommodation. Nobody could get accommodation. So I was just by default getting people who didn't want to come to my ranch. It just was the only place that they could book. So
It's the only place that 1 hour and a half away. Like,
yeah, so it was amazing. And that, even though we didn't have much to offer at the time, I mean, we had a swimming pool, but it wasn't anywhere close to what we have now. Like, I think these people could both tell how much I wanted to please them and how desperate I was at the same time. And then these same women then brought their families back to visit. And so we were this like little farm with a few animals and stuff like that. So those women were so pivotal in our business surviving because they weren't just booking one time, they were booking multiple times. So I had these early adopters right in the beginning, which was so important. Um, and so then I had a mobile home, and this I was very insecure to put on because these round top women who come to round top, they like high maintenance is not the right word, but they like,
Bougie.
upper, yeah,
Yeah.
bougie. That's the
Yeah.
right word. They're bougie.
Yeah.
They're bougie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
They're on the
I had,
housewives.
yeah, yeah. And so I bought this mobile home for my housekeeper. This was when we were still going to have money. But after we lost everything, no, poor people don't have housekeepers, right? So I had this mobile home sitting there, and I was like, what if I put this on Airbnb? Like, I don't know, like, are people going to want to stay in a mobile home? And once again, it was all I had. So I put this mobile home on Airbnb and I called it the cabin.
Well done. Well done. It's all in
And
how you sell it. It's all in
it's
how you.
all in,
I love it.
it's all on how you sell it. And people booked it, And it's got a ton of 5-star reviews, this cabin. And now I had two stays that were bringing in money, and people were coming back again for the summer and the spring and things, and we were doing whatever we could. We were giving them s'mores, and I mean we were giving away so much stuff, just to because genuinely without them we were done. And once again, God is so gracious. I've found a builder that I said, would you build me three, we call them casitas. Would you build me three casitas, and but I can't pay you for them up front. Like I will pay you as money come in, but like I don't have the money to do it. I was just honest with him. I said I don't have the money, but can you build me these three? So he agreed to do it. Without a contractor like that, I could never have done it because the bank wouldn't even lend me $200,000. They wouldn't lend me anything because I had no money. I had nothing to show for it. I mean, and so here's where I really learned a lesson is so I started to rent these things off of Airbnb because Airbnb, you only get the money when they arrive. But I needed the money now. And so I used AI to generate images of these casitas. And then I put those on our website for people to book. So when they booked it, we would get the money now. But these places, they didn't exist at
Didn't
all.
exist yet. Wow.
So it, it was genius. I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of it, but it was, when you're desperate, you come up with all sorts of ways.
Absolutely.
And so people started to book these casitas for the spring and everything like that, even though they didn't exist. And then I could take that money and I could pay this contractor, to keep going. We'd never missed. So I've done this. Now we have 36 stays, and I've done this with every stay. We put it on. We make AI images. We put it on, and then we let people book it, and then we use the money of the bookings to pay for the stay. And that is how we have built the ranch. So we built this ranch with no money, and borrowing from the future. So when somebody would cancel a reservation, it was like a dagger in the heart. Like, please don't cancel. Like, I've already spent your money. Like,
Yeah. I can't give it
I
back to
spent
you.
your money to build the building you're wanting to come stay in.
yeah,
We're still putting drywall up on it, so I need the money.
yeah. And we never missed one deadline. I mean, there were times that we finished 5 minutes before a guest arrived, but a guest never arrived, and they were like, "Where's my stay?" It was always ready. It was always better than the AI pictures. And I have just reinvested everything, and this will be the first year that we will be profitable. So we have run at a loss this entire time. But because I'm borrowing from the future, I've been able to float the ranch all this time. But we will now be profitable in 2026.
Oh
Um,
man.
we've we've lived very frugally. We watch everything
Now,
while still having fun.
Brent, all of that is amazing, but if my recognition serves me correctly, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows like you just painted.
No,
And
no.
and something happened with your wife not too long ago as well, correct?
Yeah. It's so 2023, right? We had built the casitas that I told you about, and we had paid for them, and we had $5,000 in the bank. So at that time, we had 5 stays on the ranch, and we were heading into 2024. And I felt so good for the next year because we had survived. We had survived losing everything, and we
Mm-hmm.
had $5,000 in the bank and these new units. I mean, we were unstoppable. And anyway, and my wife, I joked with my wife heading into this year. I was like, don't give me any declarations for the year. Just be quiet. Because in end of 23, she says, I think 2024 is our year.
Nope.
This is our year.
Don't.
Be quiet. So anyway, on the 8th of January, I received a call that she had been in a massive car accident, and she had been life flighted to the hospital, and they didn't think she would make it. And why I say that when I lost all the money, I became a better man. I feel like I was prepared by God for this moment. Because when I lost the money, I came apart. I collapsed, and I felt like my world was over. But when I got the news about my wife, I didn't come apart. I was calm. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I didn't panic. I just knew that the same God that had brought us through all of this, he was going to do it again in some way. I didn't know an outcome. I didn't know if she would live or not live, but I'd seen the gracious goodness of God, and I knew that we would see it again. And I came inside and I sat the kids down and I said, I'm going to tell you something, but don't panic. Everything's going to be okay. And then I told them, and they immediately panicked.
Right. Yeah.
And
Of course. Of course. How old were your
and,
kids?
13 and 15 at the
Mm,
time. And,
mm.
we were driving down to the hospital, which was an hour and a half away from us. And they were crying in the back. And I said to them, I said, I promise you this. We are going to see the goodness of God one way or another. That I can give you my word. I didn't promise them their mom that was going to live. I didn't know that. But I could promise them that we would see the goodness of God. And we got to the hospital, and they already had a child psychologist and a chaplain in the room
Mm.
to prepare the kids for her passing. And I mean, the scene in the hospital was awful. I mean, the it caught me by surprise. It took my breath away. Just how bad a shape she was in. And they said, stay by your phone because we have to. They wouldn't let me stay there in that room. They said they have to open up her skull to relieve the pressure. I mean, she was banged up really badly, and my dad had died like that. He had pressure on his brain. They had to open up his skull, and he never made it. So I had that thought
Mm.
of that, and I just posted on Facebook, and I just said, my wife's been in a terrible accident. I just need you to pray. And I posted that while I was driving down to the hospital. By the time I got to the hospital, I don't even know how they found out. There was about 20 people in a circle in the waiting room praying for my wife.
Mm.
From all different stages in my life, people had come out of the woodwork to come pray for her. And anyway, she made it through the night. They didn't have to open her skull. And I just knew from that moment that God was going to complete this. And so I had no more worry after that, even though I had to get through a lot of hurdles. But the second day she was in the hospital, I had to put $10,000 on a credit card. So I was already $5,000 in debt. And the medical insurance that I had wouldn't pay. It was this like Christian Medishare kind of thing that was supposed to be for catastrophe. Well, anyway, they weren't very good, but so I'm already in debt, and I stopped everything for the ranch, stopped all marketing, stopped everything that we were doing, and I only posted prayer requests and testimonies. So it's like, hey, they're saying my wife is in a vegetative state. Hey, my wife is awake. Hey, they're saying my wife is crippled and blind. Guess what? She can move her legs. And it was just like they're saying her lung is collapsed. Her lung is inflated. So that's all I did on the page. And with humor. I mean, we laughed more through this than I think at any stage in my life. And I explained it because I mean some people wrote some terrible things to me on social media, just because I had joy during this time, they took it as that I wasn't taking it seriously.
Sure.
And I explained it like this. I said, the reason we can have joy is because we have hope. If you don't have hope, you're sure all you left is with what you see right now. But when you have hope, you're excited for the future. You're excited for the good things to come. And I told the kids, I said, look, you are not honoring mom by crying and moping and all of these things. You are honoring God by having faith that He's going to do something good. So go have fun with your friends. Go out. Go do these things. And so we walked through this very differently than I think a lot of people do.
Absolutely.
And so that attracted an audience on social media. People loved tuning in to see what crazy thing I was doing. And for example, I made this one video, which comes from the movie Hot Rod. And so I said, hi, I'm Brent, and I like to party. And then I turned it on to my wife, right? Who's it's like she's all backed up. They've shaved her head, her one eye's closed. I mean, she's got brain damage. I mean, all this stuff. And she's like, hi, I'm Daniela. I also like to party, and it was stuff like that we just did. And I mean, and she didn't know who I was, so that brought a whole lot of humor because she didn't know who I was. She didn't remember me. She didn't remember the kids. She didn't remember we lived on a farm. She thought we were in New Zealand, which we've never been to. She thought I was 26. So, I mean, there was so many opportunity for jokes, through all of these things. She was trying to escape the hospital all the time. And so instead of panicking, I told funny stories. And here's the miracle that happened. While we were in the hospital, with not asking anybody for a cent, the ranch booked up for the next year and a half.
Oh my word.
The next year and a half. I was still meeting people who had booked during that time. So here's the incredible thing. I had a year and a half of money right up front. And so the other thing is my brother bought me a McLaren when we sold the business as a thank you gift. And that is a beautiful story. I don't know if we have time for that,
Oh yeah.
but you want me to tell it quickly?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was driving a smart car. I don't know if you know a smart car, but it's the smallest car you can buy
Yes,
and
sir.
the cheapest car.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's what I was driving, right? And we were going to a fancy restaurant to celebrate, what had happened with the business and everything like that. And he says to me, go valet the car. And I said, bro, I'm not valeting a car. Nobody valets a smart car. I mean, it's just embarrassing. Like, who pulls up a smart car? Yeah, here's my keys. You know what I'm saying? Like, you take your car and you park it as far away from everybody as possible,
Right.
right?
Right.
And he says, no, it'll be fine. Go valet the car. Anyway, I go valet the smart car. And when we come out, there is this white McLaren parked outside the restaurant. Now, at this stage, I don't know it's mine. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And whoever's driving this, well done. Congratulations, whoever you are. Like, well done. And my brother throws me the keys and he says, it's yours. And I mean, it still brings tears to my eyes today. It's not that I was given a McLaren. It's that my brother gave me a McLaren. That this was something my big brother decided to do with his money. And I mean, it was amazing, but I still had this McLaren. So even though I'd lost everything, this McLaren was parked in the garage. And so I had an idea one day. I'm like, I'm
You're
gonna
you're
wrap.
you're you're thousands of dollars in the hole,
Yeah, I've got
and
to.
you're driving back and forth to the hospital in a McLaren,
Borrowing future sales.
borrowing, borrow.
I got
I
some
just,
McLaren. Y'all look.
yeah, it's
Cherry on top. That just
it's
takes the cake.
it's so I have this idea that I'm gonna raffle the McLaren. Anyway, my wife ran up over $500,000 worth of medical debt that they wouldn't pay for. So I put the McLaren on a raffle, and I said, hey, $200 a ticket. All of it is going towards paying for my wife's medical expenses. Anyway, people were so gracious. I got double the value for the McLaren than if I'd gone and sold it.
Wow.
And then you could either get the money, or you could the money that was worth for it, and I would keep all of it towards the medical expense, or you could have the car. Anyway, I got to pay every cent of that medical debt with that. And then I had all the money where people had booked for a year and a half because I transitioned off Airbnb to direct bookings. And what should have been the year that destroyed us was the year that made us. Because after that happened, we got hit by a tornado that did a bunch of damage, and my insurance company canceled us. I just said, hey, I just want to find out, like, what does my policy say about getting hit by a tornado? And they're like, your policy's canceled. Like, they didn't even want me to, like,
You didn't get to turn
You
it
didn't
in.
even get it
I
turned
didn't get
up.
to do it. I just asked a question, like, hey, I have a friend who might be submit your policy's canceled. And that happened, and then I got sued for the Milk and Honey Ranch, the Milk and Honey name. That's why I have to say Milk and Honey Ranch.
Yeah.
I got sued for the Milk and Honey name, and that again threatened to. This is all in 24. So I'm just coming out of this with my wife. Tornado hits us, and I tell you, I never screamed, I never shouted, I never behaved badly through any of this stuff, because I just knew God was walking us through something. He was building something, and all I needed to do was just hold on to Him. And so now I'm in this lawsuit, and I haven't told anybody about it. And I hire a lawyer. I didn't even have a lawyer. I hire a lawyer who meets with their counsel, and my lawyer comes back to me, and this is word for word what my lawyer says to me. He says, give them the name. You don't stand a chance. They're a public company. You're a nobody. They've got lots of money, and you have nothing. I said,
Thanks.
Thanks.
Appreciate your optimism.
Yeah.
Great
And if it
advice.
doesn't work out as a lawyer, you should go be a life coach, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
And so I said, listen, I haven't even heard what God wants to do here. I'm going to go pray about this, and let me see. Maybe God wants to save this ranch, and if so, then so be it. And if not, then fine, whatever. Anyway, I go pray about it. 3 days later, my brother calls me from Austin, who doesn't know anything about this lawsuit, and he says, "Hey, bro, I was just at a businessman's breakfast, and I was sitting next to the CEO of this company that was suing us." I said, they're suing me. He says, no, he's a really nice guy. I said, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, a few days later, my brother has now got me on a Zoom call with the CEO of this public company. Here I am, a nobody on this little ranch on a Zoom call with the CEO of this public company. And I'm chatting to him, and he's like, hey, first, I want to apologize. I had no idea about this. This was our external counsel. They just go and look for these things. He said, you should never have been dealt this. This is completely wrong. And I'm dropping this whole thing. I
Wow.
mean, what are the chances? I mean, I can only explain it by God's grace, right? But what are the chances that I'm getting sued by a company and my brother ends up with the CEO at breakfast? I mean, it's just
That's just those
right?
things.
Yeah, you can't make that up.
You can't make it up. And so that happened, and then they took away our ag exemption. The county took away our ag exemption, which would have pushed our property taxes up to a point that I couldn't pay it. So the agricultural, it's much lower for
Right.
land.
Yep.
So they're like, no, you're doing all this hotel stuff. We're taking away your ag exemption, and it was just one thing after another thing after another thing after another thing. And what we achieved in 2024, I think we went from 5 stays to like 25 stays in the year of my wife's accident, of the tornado, of being sued, of them taking away our ag exemption. I mean, nothing stopped us from progressing. But we moved from just being a place where you could rent a stay, and Milk and Honey Ranch became a symbol of hope for people.
Mm.
And the guests who came were like, "Hey, we followed you during your wife's accident. My wife's got cancer. You gave us hope. Hey, I just lost my son, but I saw the peace that you had, and that's what I want for my life." It became this place that people were coming, that were going through stuff in life, and marriages that were on the rocks would come here for a vacation and like reconnect. And I mean, it just, and that's the part, is when you're building a business, of course you have to make money, right? Otherwise it can't continue. You
Yep.
have to make money. If you can find a way where you can genuinely provide something for people's hearts at the same time, you have found a great resource. The same thing was with Second MD, our previous business. It made money, but we changed people's lives. And with the ranch, it's become the same thing. This it's the symbol of hope. It's a place that people can come to reconnect, to be together, to experience nature, to be with animals that they've never seen outside of a photograph. And that whole part of the business, I couldn't have manufactured. That came out of our own tragedy. And I think all of us have to walk through these things in life, and we nobody wants to be uncomfortable and go through tough things, but it is those moments that take us from ordinary to something special. It's the dark valleys. It's the hard times. And I'm so grateful. What should have been the worst year of my life has been the best year of my life. It transformed my children in ways that I could never, no university could ever teach them.
Yeah.
There's no book that they could read. The things that they learned through all of this.
Brent, I want to, through this entire story, two things that are related stand out to me. Y'all were in an apartment and you wanted to go teach them life skills, so to speak. And you've sold the company, you've got more money than you've ever known what to do with. And one thing you said that really just jumped out at me, you said that you bought the land. And so many people would have still financed that land purchase.
Yeah.
And you said you bought that. And I think that one of the unique elements in this, from just listening to the entirety of your story, is that willingness, that obedience, if you will, that you'd already been taken care of, because most people in financial planning would tell you to finance it because you were going to write it off, the depreciation and all the other. And here you are, you paid for the land up front. And so you always had this piece to fall back on, and now you've built it into these beautiful things. And I tell you, I'm going to tell him myself here, Charlie, I usually do the research on people.
Yeah.
I did not see your last name on the Google invite. I haven't looked anything up about you, and I have held off tears about 3 different times from your story right here. And this is, I love that you're not telling it with an element of sadness, but of gratitude and of thankfulness. And I truly hope 2026 is your year, like not just to turn a profit, but just to really find a groove, so to speak, in life, and not have to battle all the uphill battles. But that's just unique, because most people would have financed that, and if you'd had that leveraged in any sort of way, you wouldn't even have land. But that was the purchase you made, and
Yes.
and I love that unique detail with your story there. So well done, just genuinely
amazing.
well done. So
Amazing. How far booked out are you currently?
So for larger bookings, you have to book, like 6 months, maybe a year ahead. For smaller bookings, because now we have 35 stays. We sleep 145 people.
Wow.
And the first year we did it, the revenue was $25,000. That's what we made our first year in 22. And sometimes you look at companies and you think they're kind of just like popped out of the ground, but anything that's worth building, it's been a progression, and it's harder than, and I want to say that to anybody who's starting a business. Starting a business is maybe one of the hardest things you can do, as you know.
Yes.
There's all those memes that, like, I left working for somebody else for $4,000 a month so that I could work for myself and earn $40 a month. It's
Right. Yeah.
it is so hard, but I tell you, it transforms you if you allow it, and you don't get bitter and frustrated, and that it transforms you into a better human being. Because when somebody messes up your order at a restaurant and stuff like that, you can always tell the people who haven't really learnt about life. Like, if they mess up my order at a restaurant and they bring me the wrong food, my kids will tell you, they're just like, that's what dad's eating tonight. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I ordered a burger, they bring me the salmon, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm having salmon. There are just so many things that when you see the other side of the table, you're so much more gracious with.
Yeah.
Because everybody's trying to do their best, and mistakes happen and things go wrong, and I think being in business really, really helps you with that. Charlie, I was gonna mess with you when you said that you hadn't done the research. I was gonna say, when you asked about the ranch, it's gonna be like, what are you talking about? I started an OnlyFans, and that's how I made my money.
Hey, look, I don't knock your hustle. Okay. I've been saying for years I was going to do it for a long time and just have my right foot.
Yeah,
It's just going to be pictures of my feet.
To show my feet. I mean, come on.
Oh wow.
So,
Listen, Brent, we are running out of time, but before we go, I got one question for you. We have a segment, and I have to get to it.
Yeah.
We have two segments that we have to get to, so they're quickly. But one of them we call Dinner for Two. And if you could go and have dinner with someone past, present, or future, who would that be and why?
not to sound dumb, but Jesus would absolutely be one of them.
Yeah.
Just to hear his heart for humanity, directly, and ask him the question, like, how do I do that better?
Yeah.
And the second would be Elon Musk, and I tell you why. Because not because of his wealth, because of his ability to go through so much negative stuff.
Yeah.
People turning on him, and him launch SpaceX and Neuralink and the boring. I would love to understand how the heck he does.
Yeah.
Just a glimpse into that.
It's just
that
a glimpse.
mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I always go ahead. I was going to say, with the Jesus answer, my answer was I wanted to talk to teenage Jesus,
yeah.
because that's one we don't get to see much of, and
Yes.
I want that perspective a little bit. So
Yeah. No, that's
Adolescent
great.
Jesus. Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
That's outstanding. The next segment we have is Macker beans. So typically, especially you being in Texas, there's a lot of barbecue restaurants around.
Yes.
When you go into a barbecue restaurant, you get your protein, whether you're a brisket guy or a rib guy, doesn't matter. You get a side item. And it's
Yeah.
typically either going to be the mac and cheese or the beans.
Yeah.
Which one do you get?
I get the beans.
I love
I,
it.
I, I get the beans. Yeah.
I love it.
Somehow it seems a healthier choice. It's probably not, but somehow it seems
No,
the
It
healthier
depends on how they're
choice.
prepared. So
No,
that's
I can tell you when you come to Nashville and you come to hang out with us, it doesn't matter whether you get the beans or the macs. Neither one of
It's
them
the
are good for
same.
you.
Yeah.
They are both delicious, just not healthy options.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, guys. You've been very gracious. Thank you so much for letting me be here with you.
of course, Derry, you got a Friday feel good for us?
I do, and it right there in the last few minutes of what Brent was saying. He really tied it in. He didn't mean to. Stop building a jail cell with your words and with your thoughts. It's hard for everyone. You can overcome. That's a quote by Andy Frisella. It's hard for us all. Keep the positivity flowing. Make sure that you're doing what you can to control the situation. Y'all know what to do. Find somebody you know. Tell them you love them.
I absolutely love it. Brent, if people are trying to find the Milk and Honey Ranch, how can they do that?
Milkandhoneyranch.com is the best way.
Perfect.
If they're on Instagram, Milk and Honey Ranch, same thing, Facebook, just search Milk and Honey Ranch. And all the photos you see now are real.
No more
I love that
AI.
specific.
Yes, that is outstanding.
That's fair. That's great.
Brent, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us today. I appreciate it. Your story is absolutely incredible.
Yes.
If you guys are looking for a vacation, go to Milk and Honey Ranch. Book it today. If it's a big stay, you want to get ahead of it, look at it for 2027 and 2028. He books up quick. I can promise you that I will be there sometime soon, even if it's just for one night.
Yep.
Look, y'all know what to do. If you want to get involved with the show, please feel free to reach out to me. You can call me at 615-307-0120. Email me at charlie@singletreebbq.com. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, we air on 94.9 The Fan. You don't want to miss a show. Make sure you subscribe. And until next time, guys, we'll see you then.
Y'all be good.